Alrighty then. So 14 days. 14 days. Bought yesterday these capsules, electrolyte capsule, salt capsule basically. It's look like that. Oof. Because I find I lose a lot of salt. It's look like that. It's basically salt. Gonna definitely take with me on a marathon. They put it in my pockets. That's why I have my vest. Okay. 8. Okay. I'm gonna try to do a long run. New t-shirt I bought my boyfriend. What is this thing? I did for make a mistake in two long sleeves. I'm gonna wear a long sleeve for a running for a marathon day because the rubbing is just too much. I wanna avoid as many obstacles as I can to not think about it. There will be enough already in my head to think about it. So this just less. Okay, I have a coffee and I have a toast. Like 10 minutes ago. I want to see if I will have to go to the, well, we'll see. Okay.
Welcome back, guys. I'm your trainer, Tommy Ribs. We are here for part 1 of our run, Naka Senzo Trail, guys. This is workout number 6. What we've got is our long run. We've made it to the end of week number 1, so we've got our work cut out for us.
I have 2 weeks to go, and I have 4 weeks left over of his, just to show you how
Okay, we're gonna start out nice.
inconsistent I am.
Okay,
I'm just gonna combine
so
into 2 weeks.
building slowly.
5.8 speed. What?
Getting back. First part 2, guys. This is actually our 5th week in this build-up for our half marathon. That means really got to get after it today. So we're going through a little town known as Nakatsugawa. Nakatsugawa is on a route, as I mentioned, known as the Nakasendo Trail. There's a whole era, the Edo area, or the Edo era, or the Edo
-1.
period within Japanese history that is the reason, it's the basis for this route that we're about to begin on. So we've learned quite a bit during this first week. We've seen a ton of variety. This is just going to be an addition to that in terms of the history that we find in this area. But then on top of that, we're also going to put in some serious work. Okay, so right now, no more than 4 out of 10 on our RPE, or rate of perceived exertion. Cross over the bridge here, continue on. Right now, during this warm-up, and this is going to be a long warm-up, guys. This will be a long, progressive run with varying intensities. But during this warm-up, no more than 75% of our max heart rate. We're just going to slowly ease into this, allow our bodies to warm up. We're going to take in the sights of this beautiful little town. We're going to try to pull back just a few more layers to understand the story, the history, the culture, a little bit more about language. Let's jump right into it with our short little linguistic lesson for today. So we've already learned a lot up to this point in terms of greetings, other different words. Today we're going to focus on how you greet somebody in the morning. So the sun is rising in the east, and in the morning before noon, the way that you greet somebody in Japanese, you say Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Gozaimasu is a term of respect, but it's used in the greeting in the morning to almost everybody. So, Ohayo gozaimasu. And then there's just a subtle bow as you're seeing people for the first time that day. So that's the term that we're going to use. We're going to add that to the other terms that we've used. Keep an ear out, guys, as we're cruising along here. We're going to use a lot of the different terms that we've learned up to this point, and maybe some new ones. So if there's a phrase thrown out that you hear that we haven't gone over, do your best to try to remember that, or at least to just keep an open mind to it and allow it to just slowly, overuse, begin to become a part of your new vocabulary. Here we go. Let's make a quick mad dash. We've still got the light on our side here. There we go. So as we're exposed to language, even if we don't realize it, the first few times, even up to the first dozen times that we hear a word, it might not quite register, but then eventually it becomes a familiar sound. We're able to break up and hear the different syllables. We're able to hear the intonation. We're able to hear how it's actually said rather than trying to read it in our head by looking at the spelling. A lot of times that can be deceiving in language. So that's something, guys, that as we hear it more and more and more, it becomes ingrained in our head a little bit more at a time, and then we slowly are able to learn from context the meaning of it. So that's something we're going to experience throughout this entire process, our entire journey here in Japan. Here we go. Let's cross the street. Real gentle, guys. You're going to climb up the road, nice and easy. Let's just take a quick detour right here. Check this out, guys. This is one of the many shrines that we find throughout.
3.
Let's climb up here. All of this, guys, is just perfectly carved out of stone. And right over here, small shrine. If we get up close, guys, and you look, you can see right up there that tapestry that hangs above, and then the white paper figures. This is a common scene that we're going to see in almost all of the Shinto shrines that we visit. That white tapestry, remember guys, that represents crossing over from this life or this world into the spiritual world. There we go. Okay guys, we're going to keep climbing. We've got a footbridge.
5.4 speed.
Nice and easy. Okay, we're going to take a sharp left right here. Here we go, guys. We're going to cross over. I'm going to go right up the middle.
14.
Okay, keep those arms swinging gently at our sides. Workout 6, guys.
Flat.
This first week here has gone by incredibly fast, but each of these workouts has been so unique. Okay, so we're going to cross over this side of the road.
-2. Let's go from here to here.
Okay guys, so throughout this run, this long progressive run, as I mentioned, we're going to peel back these layers of history. We're going to try to understand the significance of this path that we're taking.
I'm gonna put
It
for
might
2.
seem like an arbitrary path because of the way that it looks today. But this is an area
5.8.
that
2.
has a really deep history. So as we enter these shrines, we're always going to slow down, but I want you guys to focus in on try to maintain that RPE 4 out of 10 and that heart rate of no more than 75% of our max. So we're going to be as respectful as we possibly can be in this sacred place. I'm going to take a sharp right first over here, guys. This climb up to this Shinto shrine. Remember guys, this Shinto belief system is something we've been exposed to already, but we will continue to be exposed to. Is based on an adoration or a worship of nature. Here we go, so we pass under that threshold, and then right here guys, as we enter here, this is the area where prayers are offered, and then coins are placed in there. Offering right there, guys. Tapestry that hangs down, and the white lightning representing passing over from this life to the next life. Right over here, guys, as we come over, this is something that you don't see very common. But look at these long strings of cranes. These are actually paper cranes, origami paper cranes. Come over here, you can see the wooden images, the pendants. The reason for this, guys, is because cranes are believed in Japanese mythology to live for 1,000 years. And so there's a practice of folding 1,000 paper cranes, and then they're offered here, they're hung at these shrines. Always, guys, we bow before we enter and then after we exit. So climbing up this way, these paper cranes on these colored pieces of parchment folded up. This is an incredibly painstaking task, and it's believed that somebody who does that is given good fortune and a long life, specifically around that 1,000 years. It's believed to allow people to live for a very long time, even immortality. Look at this, guys. We'll just respectfully, quickly cruise through here. You can see the different images representing a combination of Shinto belief system and religion, as well as Buddhism. That Buddhism influence that came over from China right around 500 AD. So that combination of belief systems is something that we find all over. So we're going to climb up here. And then guys, we've actually got to access this from a little bit further down. So we're going to make a big loop because we want to make sure that we do this right. Procession is important. So doing things in a particular order is important. The grounds here are laid out specifically for a process. So ritual, order, succession, all of that. The reason that these places are laid out the way they are is to bring certain thoughts, certain concepts to our minds. And so we want to make sure as we arrive to this area that we do this appropriately. Check this out, guys. How beautiful is this? Just the clothes laying there on the line, and then we're going to take a sharp left. Okay, guys, right here, this is the entrance. This torii, or actually known as torii. We'll bow as we enter this one as well. And then as we work our way up, there's a series of torii. Torii, sometimes it's pronounced tori, but typically torii, what this is the threshold as we enter into the shrine. So remember, guys, we're going to walk on one side or the other, right down the middle. This is the pathway.
Everybody slow down. I
As
just want to keep the same pace.
Route that the deity would take as they come in and out. So guys, passing over or under these torii, the red symbolizes protection against negativity. And then guys, as we come in here, pay close attention to the sculptures. Here on the right and the left, these are actually foxes. I know there's a lot of stuff that's coming at us at once, but foxes also have a powerful meaning in Shinto and Japanese mythology. Alright, so here's where we would ring the bell, letting the deity know we've arrived, and then we would continue on, say the prayer, go in there and take a close look. You can actually see the sculptures of the dragons in there. Dragons, also a powerful symbol in Japanese mythology. It's believed that the koi fish, after working their way up over the rapids on the Yellow River, that if they make it over the rapids, the koi fish are actually converted into dragons. You can see the resemblance on their faces, how they both have those long whiskers that come out from the side. Alright guys, so we're going to exit. Pay close attention again to these foxes that we pointed out. So the foxes here are found at certain Shinto shrines. These Shinto shrines are specifically Inari shrines. Foxes are known as the kami. Kami is a word in English is spelled K-A-M-I, and it represents the spirit of the foxes. So at these Inari shrines, you'll find these foxes specifically to indicate, specifically as a symbol for the messengers of these foxes. So these foxes are seen as the ones that carry the messages between the deity and this earthly realm. So when you look up close on some of the foxes, you'll actually see a scroll tucked up in the mouth of the foxes. That represents the message that they're going to then carry into the spiritual world. So the Inari shrines, like this one that we just saw, are typical shrines within Shinto ideology, and they a lot of times represent commerce, or they represent different efforts of the people in the community trying to have good favor or fortune when it comes to their economic pursuits. So if it has to do with rice, or it has to do with sake, or that has to do Ohio gozaimasu. So a little bit. So there's a man that we just saw. He's actually working in his garden, and he got quite a kick out of the beard that I have on my face. Something you don't really see very often in this area. I'll take it as a compliment. Okay, so here we go. Cruising down through this little village, away from the Inari shrine. That's something we'll learn more and more about, guys, because it's a common theme. So the kami, or the statues, represent the spirits of those foxes, and those foxes are found specifically at those Inari shrines. And those Inari shrines represent commerce, economy. People will come to those shrines specifically to pray for good fortune or favor in those economic pursuits. Whew. Okay, nice and easy. Arms swinging gently to the side. Keep that heart rate no more than 75% of our max. For me, that's right around 140 beats a minute. So through this long, easy warm up as we progress, and slowly pick up the intensity. But for now, just cruising along, just like recovery pace, warm up, cool down pace, just gentle. Okay, let's learn a little bit more about this Nakasendo Trail. In order to understand the significance of this, you have to understand a little bit of history. This is a trail, guys, that stretches, or at one point stretched uninterrupted for right around 500 kilometers. So that's right around 330 miles. This was a major route, a major trade route that was used during the Edo era or Edo period between Edo, which is now modern day Tokyo, and Kyoto, which is down to the south of this specific island. Okay, so we're going to cross over. We're actually going to go underneath the road in a tunnel. We're going to take a sharp right. Here we go. Check this out, guys. Let's slow down and look at these signs. Love this. So cool. So this is something you see, guys, throughout. You'll find these areas where the murals are drawn up by the little kids in the community, and then they're displayed in public like this. Okay, so switch around. We're going to keep climbing back up. We just crossed underneath the highway, and we're going to keep going on the Nakasendo Trail. Guys, I know this is coming at us fast, but let's just pause. Let's just look at the design, the layout of these buildings, and then the architecture on the buildings. That traditional, iconic Japanese architecture, these large roofs that come down, the sides coming over and forming a protection of the balconies down below. The roofs are huge, as we saw at the Imperial Palace on the very first run that we did. The roofs will typically take up half of the size of the actual structure. So guys, as we come down through here, this provides a perfect example. You can see the ceramic tile roofs, and they come down, and then the walls, most of what's down underneath the ceramic tile roofs is made of wood. And in typical Japanese architectural fashion, the structure that's found down below is often just 4 main walls. There are sometimes walls or partitions that are found inside those main 4 walls, but they're typically not permanent and they're never weight bearing. So that means that they can be moved or slid back and forth as though they're curtains or removable walls to change the layout or the floor plan. Let's take a small little detour up here
10
into this little garden.
2.8 speed.
It's so fun, guys. Alright. So this right here, guys, is actually a small Buddhist shrine. So you can tell because of the different figures that are there.
3.
And then also because of symbolism. Remember the Manji symbol, known in Hindu, if it's clockwise, known as a swastika, or if it's counterclockwise, known as Salvastika, known as Jumanji in Japanese. In Buddhism, it's a symbol for movement or progression, also a symbol for eternity. Sometimes it's seen as representing a wheel, so forward movement, forward progress. And typically always found at the Buddhist temples or the Buddhist shrines. We find them in this part of the world. Okay, so as we move, let's continue down and out of the story just a little bit. So if we get very, very, very simplistic, this is almost a gross representation because of how simplistic
5.5 speed.
But a very general history.
-2.
In Japan, the first mentions of this area were right around the year 300 AD, and these were writings that were found in China, and it spoke about a kingdom or a people to the east that were ruled by a queen. This was believed to be ancient Japan. So there was a period of time where different governments were set up. Eventually, there was a huge era that spread for right around 1,000 years where the ruling power in Japan was actually known as a shogun or a shogunate. This is actually a military type of dictatorship that took place. There was an era that lasted several hundred years where an aristocratic elite, part of this military government, known commonly as samurai, controlled the country. And then there was an era where this stopped in large part, and there was a period of relative stability, relative peace. And this era lasted during what is now known as the Edo period. So the Edo period was a time where there was a huge amount of economic progress. There was a massive transportation system that was laid out during this period. One of the major pieces of infrastructure that was laid out during this time was this specific trail known as the Nakasendo Trail. So as I mentioned before, it covered over 330 miles from Edo, which was essentially the capital at that time, formerly known as Edo. Now it's known as Tokyo, and it traveled all the way down to Kyoto. Here, guys, we're going to pass through into another Shinto shrine. Always, we're going to slow the speed down when we go into these areas, keeping things light intensity. We always want to be respectful. So, always passing through that threshold, hangs down low, really, really low in certain areas, actually causing the people to have to bow down as they cross underneath it. Look at this, guys. Look how beautiful this is. In a major modern city like this, to have these areas of refuge from that, to be able to come and appreciate the harmony that's found in this area. Such beautiful stuff. Alright, so let's continue along and work our way back out from the main shrine. It's incredible, guys, to see the similarities between each of these shrines, but also to see the differences that exist between them. Alright, so we're going to work our way back out. Alright, here we go. Okay, so in terms of timeline, guys, this Edo period lasted from the early 1600s to 1603, officially ended in the year of 1868, and that was a time when what's known as the Meiji transformation took place. So many shrines. I wish we were able to stop and look at every single one of them. 1868 ended that Edo period, but during that time, this trade route was laid out, and it was one of the 5 major trade routes that were laid out, and then the officers, the different government officials within that Edo government, they used these trade routes as they would work their way throughout the kingdom, and they would carry out the wishes of the government. So all along this trade route, specifically this Nakasendo Trail, there are inns. There are places where the people would be able to stop and stay over. And so some of these towns, very few of them, have been able to maintain the actual original image. And as we work our way along Nakasendo Trail throughout this run, as well as in the future, other runs, we're going to be able to see some of this. Some of it in pristine form, and other parts we can see how the communities have changed, how they've adopted new styles of architecture, but following this same pathway that was used for over 200 years throughout that Edo period. Okay, nice and easy as we climb, still maintaining that light intensity. Arms moving gently at our sides. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a climb here. As we climb, we want to make sure that our speed comes down to reflect consistency in that intensity. Even though we're climbing, we're still going at light intensity. We should still be able to breathe easily through our nose if we need it. We should be able to carry on a conversation if we want it. It's a combination of up and down, inclines and the declines. When we combine all of that, it provides different types of stresses to our structures. So the plane with which the stress passes through the tissues, that changes. And as that changes, it causes our structures to generate strength
15.
in different areas and in different
3.8.
specific positions. Look at these guys. These are hydrangeas. Hydrangeas are a type of plant that we see all over this country. Got these small little white or yellow flowers. Purple flowers. Look at these ones, guys.
Don't take one.
All right. Nice and easy. And then these ficus trees. I love ficus trees. And then we got
15.
long, tall bamboo. This is traditional bamboo, guys. Different from the broadleaf bamboo that's also found in the area. And then on top of that, forming the canopy, is Japanese maples, and then these Japanese cypress trees. Very cool. Okay, here we go. We're going to take a right and work our way up through the area right over here, guys. Let's slow down just a little bit. We won't approach it completely, but another small little Buddhist.
Oh, it's 15 now.
Right.
It's Zero.
You can see the manji, the
But
symbol of the manji.
It's not at zero
In
yet.
front,
It's already 5.8.
progress, eternity. And come over here, guys. This right here. This is exactly what I was talking about in terms of the inns. These inns were put in place so that the magistrates, the officials, the different government officers would have a place to stay as they were working their way along that route on the Nakasino Trail. Look at these gardens, guys. The stonework that's laid out, original stonework, it hasn't changed in over 1,000 years, guys.
5
And then the homes,
flat. 5.8 speed.
perfectly manicured. I love just the attention and detail that we
-1.
see in a place like this. Everything is so clean. Everything is so intentional. This is so different from what we see when we're in Europe, guys. Remember the Baroque style, that gaudy style that we see decorating the outside of the churches, the different government buildings, and then to contrast that to the simplicity, which is really rooted
-2.
in the ideology, just the basic ideology and the belief systems here in Japan. Alright, let's keep moving. Look at how this opens up, guys. You can see off in the distance the hills. Oh man, beautiful. This was known as an incredibly rugged journey, a difficult journey to traverse. If you think about it, right now we're on a paved road covering the same path. This was traditionally done on foot or on horseback, but more commonly on foot. And so the trails, some of these areas were incredibly technical areas people would traverse. So it wasn't always just an easy, runnable path like we see today. Look at those foothills, guys, and then climbing up into the mountains. The highest peaks in this area are right around 7,000 feet in elevation. This is primarily farmland. A lot of what we see in this area are rice fields that are grown. You'll notice, guys, they're the yellow fields. This is the harvest time, so we're reaching the end of summer for the rice. It's harvested, it's cut, and it's laid out to dry. We'll be able to see some of that. Guys, when we come down into this next section, pay attention to the roofs, the ceramic tiles. Look how thick they are and how ornate they are. They come out in this big sweeping arcing pattern. And look at how they cover in terms of proportion of the building. They take up almost half of the size of the structure. Beautiful. Okay, guys, we're going to take a big steep turn to the left. Alright guys, we're going to cross over here real quick, and then we can continue. Check this out, guys, really quick. This right here, the chestnut tree. You can see the chestnuts that come down, and they're, oh man, they're in these husks. Feel exactly like hedgehog. The hedgehog was a plant. So you can see the chestnuts are there on the inside. This falls down and it breaks apart. The outside is incredibly sharp. It's difficult to hold. Really good for throwing at your siblings or other kids in the neighborhood. That's what I did growing up whenever I go visit my family in Utah. My grandma had a chestnut tree. She lived in a little town called Bountiful. And we would pick those chestnuts, and it's tricky because if you threw too hard, they were sharp enough that they'd actually poke your own fingers and make you bleed. But if you threw it just right, you could get it to impale the other neighbor. The other neighbor kids. I wish that story wasn't true, but it actually is. Oh, fond memories of these chestnuts. Alright, here we go. Look at this sleepy little town. Look at the clothes hanging out, guys. This is very, very traditional, very typical. Most of the homes, that's the way the clothes are dried, just laid out on the lines in front of the homes, which can take a very long time, I've found, guys, because this is a very humid area, even in the summer. So you lay your clothes out, and if the conditions aren't just right, and just as wet that night as they were when you put them out that morning. Okay, here we go. Right intensity, still just moving along. Okay, this is important. Right here, guys, this sign looks like a yield sign. In Japan, that's actually a stop sign. If you don't stop, it causes some serious, serious problems. Allegedly. Allegedly. Alright, nice and easy. Alright, so we're always going to follow these blue signs right here. These are the equivalent of our trail cairns. So they'll carry us throughout 322 miles, guys, on the Nakasendo Trail. And we're going to run every single one of them. Just kidding. We're just going to run a long run today, and then we'll explore it a little bit more throughout. I wish we had time to explore all of it. Alright guys, let's take a short little detour here off to the left. Allow us to climb up. View the surroundings. Very cool. So guys, we're about to go into what's known as the Kiso Valley. This is an area that, as I mentioned, is heavily used for agriculture. So if we look out to the right, there are quince trees, there are onions, there are peach trees, there are little daffodils that are being planted that serve the natural pesticide. Coming back, we've got squash, we've got more peach trees, and the land is being plowed to plant more crops. Whew. So we work our way back down over here to the left. This is something, guys, never tire of seeing. Let's just come up and just take a quick view. We won't enter. This is another Shinto shrine as well as small Buddhist shrine. Oh man, so beautiful, guys. Okay, slowly working our way back down. Let's continue along the Nakasendo Trail. Come over here. So we're about to work our way down into a place known as Oshiai, and then from there, from Oshiai, we're going to continue along the Nakasendo Trail towards another town known as Magame Juku. Magome Juku. Sorry, my mispronunciation, guys. Magome Juku. Juku is a word that means school. It also is a word that means inn, like a motel or a hotel. And the reason that a lot of these towns along the Nakasendo Trail have Juku at the end is because, as I mentioned with the history, guys, these were post towns. These were areas that the officials would be able to stop and spend the night in as they continued along their path. Take a sharp left right here. Alright, nice and easy as we move along. Still going at light intensity, so nothing crazy. Working our way down into Oshii. Find that rhythm, breathing, line it up with your feet. Line that up, arms, light, smooth, and efficient. That's how we learn how to run fast, guys. That's how we learn specifically how to race fast. We talked about this in our 5K prep, in our 10K prep. Racing comes down to efficiency. So how long you can move quickly and efficiently, in large part determines the success that you'll have. Here we go, guys. We're cruising along. We're going to cross over this bridge. Now we're going to hit an intersection up here, and we're going to take a sharp left. This will bring us back down towards the valley. Look at this, guys, right out in front of us. Just the simplicity of that structure. Man, the beauty of the ceramic tiles and the woodwork and the simple white walls. Here we go. Okay, shake out those arms. Let's try to be as relaxed as possible. This right here, guys, is Oshii. We worked our way down into this town, one of these towns along that Nakasendo Trail. Okay, guys, check this out. This is just an area that I want to show us. So throughout, let's come up here, throughout this entire trail, as I mentioned, there are these different areas that have been preserved. So come up here, guys, we're going to work our way through. A lot of these areas, which served originally as structures or as shrines or temples, have been converted into places, museums where people can come and visit. They can come and see the way that things were hundreds of years ago. So there's an exit right here. We're going to work our way back around. How cool is this, guys? So these are found all throughout this entire trail system. All these little detours that you can take to explore how things worked back during that Edo period. Okay, back down through this little corridor. Keep moving along. Hey guys, just to remember, you guys remember how we say good morning, that linguistic lesson that we have today? Good morning is Hayobazaimasu. Hayobazaimasu. As the day starts to shift, these greetings can change just a bit. Okay, we're going to take a sharp left. Here we go, guys. We're going to cruise our way up over this main road in the middle here as we climb. Just gentle, efficient strides. This is perfect, guys. It's going to bring us up. We'll be able to take in a view of the valley. So look up there. You can see off in the distance. We have the high peaks, 7,000 feet high, and then they come down and we have the red bridge. Spans across that valley, and the river below. All right, here we go. All right, guys, sharp sharp, sharp left right here. We're going to continue to work our way down and along this path. So still nice and easy, guys. This has been a long, gentle warm-up. But we're going to begin to climb. And as we begin to climb, I'll give the indication. Still a ways off, don't worry. But as we begin to climb, we're going to gradually increase this intensity up to moderate intensity. So throughout this warm-up, we've been at light intensity, no more than 4 out of 10 on that RPE. A rate of perceived exertion, no more than 75% of our max heart rate. As we begin to climb, we're going to bring it up to moderate intensity, which is 7 out of 10 on that rate of perceived exertion, and 85% of our max heart rate. So make sure you know your numbers. This is something that we've gone over so many times. 220 minus your age, multiply that by, in this case, 0.85. So for me, my light intensity is right around 140 beats per minute as the max. The moderate intensity is right around 160 beats per minute. So it's just a gentle increase, bringing it up to that moderate intensity. That moderate intensity is right around the pace, or the exertion level rather, that you'll be expending throughout most of that half marathon. So if you think about it in those terms, the exertion that you could maintain for most of that half marathon, at least the first half of that half marathon. And this is tricky because it starts to shift. Your body starts to fatigue accumulatively as you're running. And so over the second half or the final third of that half marathon, you may find you're going higher, up into higher intensity. And then as you get close to the end, you'll be going all out. You'll be giving it everything that you have left, all the way to the end. And so it goes to where you're at max exertion. Try to make it all the way to the end there. Here we go, guys. Let's take a left. Keep moving along. How incredible are these little neighborhoods? There's these small neighborhoods here in these rural communities. Rural, hard word. Rural communities, they are unique. All of them are incredibly different from one another. But there are also a lot of commonalities that you find. And one of them, a really interesting feature of these small communities, because they are based on agrarian traditions, agricultural type traditions, a lot of the people historically didn't have watches or clocks. And so the way that they would keep time is this intercom system that comes on multiple times a day. So there's a wake-up call, and depending on the region, it might be 6 in the morning, it might be 7 in the morning, and it is this booming song that will come on. It feels similar to the way the minarets come on in the Muslim world. Obviously, it's a little bit different. We're going to take a left here, guys. A little bit different for obvious reasons, but it comes on and it sings this song, or it plays this music. And that happens in the morning to wake up. It happens when the workday should begin. It happens when lunch should begin, when the workday is over, and then again in the evening. Check this out, guys. Look at this incredible river coming down. This forms the Kiso Valley that we're going to work our way up towards as we climb along the Nakasenda Trail to Magobe Juku. Guys, before we head up there, check out this bamboo. This bamboo is so important in this part of the world, not only in terms of symbology, as an iconic symbol within art, within other cultural depictions, but used as a building material, used to construct utensils, tools, chopsticks, furniture, buildings, all sorts of things. It's something that's been used here for thousands of years, and people around the world have begun to recognize how useful it can be for all sorts of different things. And so it's now exported, grown throughout the world. These dense forests, guys, this is the original birthplace. All right, here we go. Let's keep moving, guys. We're gonna take to the right, and then we're gonna go for one more minute of light intensity, guys, and then we're gonna transition up. This is gonna be our transition up to moderate intensity. So prepare your mind as though we're starting that race. I know that's tricky because we've been running for almost an hour now, but focus in on that blank slate. Clear everything we've done from your mind, and we're gonna begin anew, as though we're starting that race. And we're gonna climb at moderate intensity along the trail, so that heart rate will gradually rise up. We're going to shoot for 85% of our max. This is gonna be challenging, guys.
15.
Prepare your mind for that.
3.8 speed.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1,
4.
and off we go.
15.
Nothing crazy, guys. Just a gradual, gentle
3.8.
progression. Look at this bamboo, guys. Every time I see bamboo like that, it makes me think of this experience I had when I lived in Rio, down in Brazil. And I shared this story when we were running in Costa Rica, but man, there was an area where I worked that got hit by a major mudslide that came down and wiped out a huge part of the neighborhood. And as a result, some of the homes which were built on this slope completely destroyed. People were killed. We showed up to help people rebuild their home and find what was left. We needed to create a retaining wall to keep that mountain from further sliding down. And so what we did is we went and cut down green bamboo. And green bamboo will send off shoots. So you can plant a section of it with certain types of it. Plant that section and it'll actually sprout up. So we planted this bamboo in a line, and it was bolstered up there. It was held in place, created this thick line of bamboo. And as we did this, as we were cutting down some of this really tall bamboo, one of these giant pieces, it was probably 60 feet tall, fell down and it hit the power line. And it actually caused the power line to spark, and the power line eventually snapped. And this power line is what provided power for the entire hill. And this hill is an area that some people would know as a favela or a shantytown or a mojo. So it was this area that was built on this mountain, and it's controlled by one of the largest cartels in Latin America. And we're gonna pop that story real quick. Check this out, guys. Let's work our way out here into
have to pass, I have to pee.
How unique this is. How different every single one is. Okay, we can see the shoes on the outside. So we know that somebody is in there praying. So we're going to be respectful. Not actually go any further than that. Just be able to come in and just see how beautiful this is. All right, now we're going to slowly work our way back out. And continue along the trail. Alright, here we go. Ooh. Alright. So, power gets shut down to the entire hill, and people just come screaming down the mountain, wanting to know what happened. And we stood there, and we stared at the down power line, and just played dumb. This was a scenario where I figured that the best thing to do in that circumstance was just to pretend like I had no idea what had happened. So eventually, our company was called and they restored power back to the area. And the retaining wall that we built eventually started to grow and was soon ripped out by the same angry people that came down wondering why the power had been cut. Maybe eventually they found out that there was a connection, but anyway. So every time I see big shoots of bamboo, always where it brings me back. Okay, so continuing along, our heart rate should have raised up to this point, right about where I need to be. Just a little bit more actually. Get right up to 85% of my max. So we take these little detours, guys. We want to make sure we're taking in the views and seeing everything. So as we do that, even though the pace will slow down just a bit to see some of these beautiful areas, we want to make sure that we're still maintaining that accurate intensity. Here we go, guys. Onto the cobblestones of the Nakasendo Trail as we work our way up to Magobe Juku. So these cobblestones, guys, this is original. This is exactly the way that the trail has been in this area, dating all the way back to the beginning of that Edo period. So over 400 years. 1603, guys, remember, that's when the Edo period began, but this was already an established route before that took place. It's just that it joined all the way from Edo, modern day Tokyo, all the way to Kyoto, down in the south. These stones were put in place to maintain this pathway. And remember, guys, most of the people that traveled in this area did so on foot. 500 kilometers, 300 33 miles. All right, I'm right where I need to be. 160 beats per minute on my heart rate, 85% of my max. So get into the mindset as though we're racing in that half marathon. This is going to be one of the most challenging runs that we do in this entire build-up. We progressively built up day after day after day, building more and more fitness. This is going to prepare us for that actual race effort. So we're going to progress from moderate intensity, eventually up to high intensity. We'll give ourselves a tiny little recovery in between, which you got to remember we're not going to have during the race. But we want to make sure that we save our race efforts for race days, so keep it a little bit in the bank always. And that's not so much a physical thing, that's more a mental or emotional thing. Okay, here we go, guys. Still moving. Whew. This gets a little bit tricky to run on. So I want to always emphasize we need our posture to be strong and powerful. Neutral spine, but as you guys know, staying vertical is always a challenge for me, especially in technical areas like this. And these large stones that are used to build this pathway are pretty technical when it comes to running through it. So, gotta keep my eyes on the path.
I have to stop drinking coffee before run. It's no good. It's my mind is not there. I will do tomorrow. I'm just, my mind is not there. I have to go to the bathroom. And I didn't drink enough water. Oh. Very comfortable. So salty. So salty. I'm losing a lot of sodium. The girl yesterday at the store, athletic store where they sell Hokas and different kind of shoes and sport gear. She recommended me to go see a nutritionist just to see why I'm losing so much salt. I don't know, maybe after.